One show at a time.
Everybody, we got Ian here from Scratchworks from Minot, North Dakota. What's going on, Ian?
Hey, Dave, how are you? Thanks for having me on.
No problem. Hey, give us a little bit of background on you, why you got into your detailing business, and what you have going on.
Certainly. My name is Ian Korgel, based out of Minot, North Dakota. Born and raised here. I've traveled throughout the country throughout my lifetime, but I ended up back here. Wanted to go back to school, and then I had getting into detailing. While I was in college, I had a black BMW, and I texted one of my friends who did what we do now, and I was like, "What do I got to do to make this thing look not like you can do it, but better?" And she's like, "Go buy this tool," which was one of the old first griots polishers that they sold.
Okay.
And so I bought one of those, and then the whole chemical guys line up because they were really good at their marketing stuff. I mean, they still are, and ran through it in a day. So I polished a four-door E46 sedan in a day, and then unbeknownst to me, I sent her sunshots in every panel, and she's like, "Just don't quit." And that was it. And I'm
Keep
like,
practicing.
yeah. So no, it was the opposite. So I was like, so start a business? And she's like, yeah, yeah. And then one thing led to another. And now I ended up dropping out of college, but my professor and I have teamed up, and now we're working on a bunch of stuff together. And yeah, almost a decade later, here we are. First
Wow. So
podcast.
tell me
Yeah.
how do you deal with the extreme cold there in North Dakota? Because I know it's cold there.
Layers, you got to bundle up. But so no, as far as working in aspects like that, all of my clients have heated shops. So yep, I'm completely mobile. I decided to buy a house with a garage and nicer driveway so I can work in the summer at home. However, a lot of my clientele is farming, agricultural stuff, so I'm always out at farms. And if they don't have a heated shop, then I can't come out until
All right,
springtime.
so you do a lot of the ag and
Yes,
farms,
sir.
and how do you attract them? How do they know who you are? Are you going farm to farm? Are they just Google? How are you getting the business?
So it's a mixture of all of it. It's funny you say farm to farm because I have been talking about, oh, I should go just put business cards in these tractors I'm seeing in fields that need to be polished. And I recently did that. I was out at a polishing job, and I saw two old tractors that were hooked up to cultivators that they leave them unlocked and stuff. So I ran up there across the field real quick and popped a business card in there, popped a business card in the other one, and still waiting to hear back from those two. What really got me into it was I growing up in the farm, how do I want to word it? I grew up on a farm, so we'd just say that. Yeah. So we had some connections, whatever. Messaged some of my old clients, and I was like, "Hey, do you have any old like trucks or tractors or anything that could be shined up, or you think that could be shined up? I have a hunch." And then I did one, and then I made an ad on Facebook for my area in my state, and then it was just kind of word of mouth took off from there. And then because I'm so rural, I'm having to go inorganic and travel to different states and things like that. So, which about the last project that we did down in South Dakota,
Right.
which we'll talk about
Right.
later. But yeah, that's the basis of it is word of mouth. Really, these farmers, they all talk to each other because they all help each other out, and then a lot of them have coffee with each other in the mornings.
Okay. Okay, great. Excellent. So you're doing ag stuff, you're doing combines. What's it like to polish a big combine, a big tractor? I mean, you single stage paint, are you seeing base clear? What are you seeing out there?
So 99% of it is single stage paint. A lot of it's painted fiberglass too. Kind of like some of the semis, the guys will understand, like the Kenworths, the Freightliners. A lot of the hoods on those are plastic or fiberglass. Unlike gel coat, like a boat, you know what I mean? It's just painted plastic. So yeah, I went after it and figured out what it took to get the shines back to all different colors. There's a few like John Deere. The one panel below the window on the big doors has clear coat on it. That's like the only panel in almost the entirety of all the makes and manufacturers that has clear coat on it. I haven't seen any new stuff with clears on it yet. But the biggest thing is the different types of substrates, how they get painted, and then like the paint's so hard, so like rock industrial paint
But
hard.
are you seeing other panels like the fiberglass panel fading quicker than the single stage paint or vice versa?
I guess it's all situational. So it depends. Like if to answer the question fairly, I want to say yes, the fiberglass fades faster. And especially if it's like over an engine cover, it's seen a lot of heat, or they're storing it outside. The top sides are really get it the worst. But surprisingly, roofs aren't too terrible. However, a lot of it I've seen with failures is the polymers and the epoxy within the paints on the steel has been failing before it's been like actually oxidizing. Does that make sense? So then it's just accelerating things and then it oxidizes. Like I polished a tractor for a guy and it looked great. And then I came back 2 weeks later and it was orange again. And that was because the polymers that are holding the paint and the pigment together have completely disintegrated and failed. Therefore, the UV inhibitors are toast and gone. And then
So it needs to be sanded and repainted.
exactly. Yep. Yep.
Got it. So you're doing ag, you're doing industrial, and now you're branching into planes. Tell us how you got into planes and what you're doing with planes.
So the plans are kind of as they come to me basis. I'm not really out marketing for them. The first plane I ever did was with a buddy, Cody. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us anymore, but he was local to me in the state. And he took me along to do an old Thrush air spray plane. This
Okay.
was like 6 years ago. And then, we posted some. I had few leads, but, when you're pretty new into all this kind of stuff. Selling an airplane is pretty intimidating. So let's just say I didn't close any of those ones. So I didn't push it. And then recently I ran into a few people that were working at we have a local air museum here. And
Okay.
so I just coincidentally ran into the guys that were working there, helped them work on a few of them. And then because I was just posting social media stuff, other people that like have been following me reached out and they're like, hey, I have, this airplane or that airplane. What would it cost to polish it and put a coating on it? And then that's about it. That's just word of mouth stuff when it
Word of
comes to
mouth.
that.
Great, great. And
Yeah.
you just did a big project with Kevin in
Yeah.
you said South Dakota?
No, that was local. So Kevin and I
That was
did a
local,
couple
yes.
airplanes at the air museum, helped him polish those up, then he put the coatings on those, and then I went back to working with my clients. So that was a great
That was some hard
experience.
work. You're up upside down all day
Oh, yeah.
long and
Yeah, doing the
whew,
undersides of the bellies and the wings and all that. The P-51s, those wings are pretty, I don't know how long they are, but it gets real tiring real fast. And then, yeah, we did that F4 Wildcat that's up here. And that was nice because those have the wings that fold up like that. So I stood and polished 90% of that. And then we lowered them so we could get the ailerons and the flaps. But yeah, that was great. And then, like I said, it was local, so I did another car for that client, and then just I might do because it's a local museum. We'll probably end up just doing some, cleaning, maintenance stuff, and donating time to the community instead of charging them for it. Just because I don't have a lot of time to just give away like that. So if it's just some maintenance, wipe this down, clean this up. We have a big show coming up. Doors are going to be open. People are going to be coming through, or post cleanup stuff, things like that. Maybe I can send a crew too. But right now it's just me. All my clients need my utmost attention, and
right.
yeah.
All right, so tell us about the big barn find. So your customer found a plane. It's on your new YouTube channel, and tell
Yeah.
us all about that.
Yeah. So we launched a YouTube channel about 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. It's Ian Polishes, the same as my Instagram handle. Excuse me. The airplane, the barn find that you're mentioning was literally that. I asked my client, and he said, yeah, it's sat in a barn for probably 50 years, and the owner just wanted to sell it, and he got it for a steal. And then he saw that we were doing all the museum stuff, and he asked if I could bring back all that paint. Yeah, it's lacquer with a little bit of lead and probably a lot of lead in it.
It
But
sounds
they,
dangerous.
what's funny is I texted my mom and I told her, I said, well, at least I'm not licking it. And she's like, well, but you're inhaling the dust and all that. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, masks and all that. So you got to be aware of what the paint's made of too, because they are hazardous when it comes to a lot of this stuff. But yeah, the barn find, that thing turned out great. It was single stage, so as we all know, single stage likes to stain. However, it sat in a barn, so it didn't get cooked by the sun. That aluminum didn't, sit in the sun and heat up and then sit, in the wintertime, or I don't know where it actually originated from. I never asked him. So if it was in South Dakota, it's, similar climate to us, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. But it turned out fantastic. So everybody make sure you go check it out on the YouTube channel.
Yes. Ian Polishes on YouTube. Check that
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
So
yeah.
okay, what the other day we talked about some new things you have going on. You have a consulting business and gig that you're offering to certain customers. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, certainly. It's because of the nature of what my business really handles, the farm equipment, the industrial polishing. I've noticed not a lot of people not only not, are not doing it or offering it, but a lot of people are hesitant on quoting it or coming to me and asking for just advice in general, how-to tips on polishing the equipment. So I figured that there's an open market for it. I ran it by a couple of my better, more frequent clients, and one of them ended up signing up for just kind of a let's see what happens with it. And that student is already polishing and making money. So we ended up setting up full web page with different tiers of packages for different levels of services and consulting work. So if you're just starting out, we have a package for you for that, and you can skip, all the failures that I had to go through, and then you can just go based off of all the wins. You know what I'm saying? We always
I
teach the
do know what you're
failures
saying,
too,
and
but
like that's what this whole podcast is about. It's about helping detailers make more money, and part of that is your story. And not only is it your story, but now you actually offer a way to help other detailers break through this whole barrier to entry. Oh, you want
hmm
to do this? You want to hit planes? Planes. There's a lot of liability there. There's a lot of
yeah,
things that you learned, the hard way. How did you even know that that paint had lead in it? There's things. So you have a consulting thing that you consult with new detailers, old detailers, also different companies that are wanting to
correct,
do these kind of things, break into this market. Maybe not your market, but the market in Kansas City and the market in Georgia, and that kind of stuff. You can travel
exactly.
around. Here's how I did it, and here's your local market. And then did it just transfer over to what we talked about was the good, better, best, how to set up your packages,
hmm
the good, better, best. You're going to have that low cost one, and then you're going to have the one where you want everybody to be at. And then you're going to have this ridiculous one, this $25,000 package. No one's ever gonna order that one, but everyone, the bang for your buck and all the value is going to be in the middle one, the good, better, best. So that's part of this episode is I wanted to talk about the good, better, best. And then have
Certainly.
you implemented what we talked about on all that?
So yeah, in a kind of runaround sense, we have. So I have the one-on-one group pricing, and then we have the middle pricing. The group we have the group course. Sorry, I don't know. I couldn't say course. And then I have the corporate training, which is actually coincidentally the $25,000 course, where there's the back end business consulting. There's a lot more in depth without going too much into it. But yeah, so when we were building the pricing for each student, we added it up, and then as we got to like the fifth student is where I like to keep my classes, no more than 5 people. It was now becoming more expensive than the group course. So then we had to kind of work things. So like we said, yes, it's a good option if we want to do one-on-one training or, have me come to you, but it's going to be really, really expensive. And we have the best option, which is the group course. And that's all, outlined within the course training description, I could say, online at shopscratchworks.com. And then we have the bigger, the corporate, hey, we want to learn about polishing and ceramic coating and add it to our business instead of not already doing it type deal.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds great. If you want to know more about his consulting business, Ian Polishes on YouTube, Instagram, website. What was the website again?
The website shopscratchworks.com. For all products and training courses. If you are a professional and you have an EIN and your insurance and all that, be sure to log in, and then you have access to wholesale pricing for my products. Now, I'm in the middle of building a new website. We should be live hopefully end of this week, if not beginning of next week. They sent me a couple drafts and previews. We're just tweaking a few things. But scratchworks.com, pretty simple. That one's just
Great.
it's all just text right now, so don't go to that one. I mean, go to it. Yeah, get all the hits on that website. But stay tuned for the Shop Scratchworks one because we're gonna have a new polish come out on that one soon. I'm really looking forward to that one. That one I've put a lot of time into tweaking that and finding the right combinations of things to be able to handle these single stage paints, these industrial paints, and not necessarily clear coat stuff like a lot of detailers just handle. So I'm pretty proud of that one.
Great, great, great. So you do live in North Dakota. It
Hmm.
is cold,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I hear you have some plans to maybe go somewhere warmer.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I do service nationwide. I do some work in Tampa, Florida. I spent a summer down there polishing, and then I'm currently I've got leads all over the place at the moment. But with holiday season, we all know it's kind of hard to close on some of the bigger jobs at the moment. So looking at first quarter, maybe second quarter. But first quarter, we're looking at being in Houston, Texas area. So if you're in the area, feel free to reach out. I'm going to be working on hopefully a couple airplanes, one for sure, and then maybe some autos or some vehicles while we're there. And then, like I said, I'm a part of a networking group in Tampa, Florida. So we throw work around to each other all the time. So I'm looking to get into some more museum work down there. So much farm equipment down in the Sunshine State. So I'd rather do
What
boats. There's a
what about tractor trailers? It's screaming out at me right now. So
So like semis and their trailers, yeah, there's a huge market for it. It's a massive market, and especially if you're along an interstate or you're a drive-through town, metal polishing. I know at least in my state, everybody wants it. I'm just too busy for it. I taught myself how to do it, and it's pretty easy if you understand the tedious steps. But most guys like us, that's what we live for. So it's not bad. You're dirty and it's a lot of work. And if you want to get the automated machines, they're really, really expensive. So it takes a while to make your money back on it. But if you have no problem sitting around a truck stop, I know guys that sit at a truck stop, well, while the driver's in there showering and eating and doing whatever, they're in there shining up their wheels and their tanks for,
yes,
just a quick detail. I do sell a lot of paint corrections or enhancement polishes or oxidation removal jobs really on the semis. And again, it all depends. If it's a brand new paint, they're going to want the best. And if it's not, they're going to want to make it last so they don't have to have it painted. You know what I mean? So
right. Yes,
it's
I've
any
seen Forrest Day is a good customer and friend of mine. He does amazing work if you check him out.
okay.
And
Yeah, I
a
will.
bunch of these guys are out there polishing tractor trailers. Just
Mhm.
looks amazing. There are, I would say, millions of them out there. They're all getting
Everywhere.
dirty and beat up every day. I remember seeing a big Kenworth one time, and it was as old as I am, and it
Mhm.
had 3 motors, and each motor had 1,000,000 miles on it. I'm like,
Oh
that's
my
crazy.
gosh. Yeah, I
So
just polished a Freightliner with one of my students that was from 1997 and it was white and we didn't record anything on that one, but between him and I and the new compound that we're releasing, we polished that whole semi with the big sleeper. I don't know the dimension of it, but it was a very large sleeper in 2.5 hours. And then we coded it
wow,
in like
that's pretty
45
amazing.
minutes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love single stage. It's once you dial it in and you figure out what you're working with and you find the right pad, that's the big key. And because the steel versus the aluminum versus the fiberglass, and then how thick each aluminum panel is or each steel panel is really make is a it's really a huge variable on the decision on what pad you're going to want to use if you're trying to one step mostly everything and trying to avoid having to do that second polishing
Isn't
step.
that pad also getting paint transfer onto it and turning different colors?
Oh yeah, always, every time. Yep,
Yeah,
every time.
you have oxidized paint that's come to the surface. It's like the cancer, and
Yeah,
you're cutting that off, and you're going to polish it and then protect it with some ceramic
yeah,
coating. So
yeah. So there's a
that's
lot of
great.
times
That's great.
I keep multiple of different pads on hand because if I get, say, that barn find Cessna that we did, it was blue, but then it had a little bit of white on it. If I were to take that blue single stage paint and rub it into that white single stage paint, I'm going to run the risk of either burning blue into it, it just naturally sucking up the blue pigments, and then I've just damaged a $150,000, $200,000 aircraft. It's twice as old as I am.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So the whole
Yes.
point
Yes.
is restoration and preservation.
Right.
with the industrial stuff. Yeah.
All right. So, you talked about a lot of things. We talked about planes, we talked about consulting, in the weather, out of the weather, industrial, ag, traveling places. What would you advise some of the other detailers out there, new experience, whatever, anything else that you could add to the conversation about how to help them make more money?
Certainly. I mean, we could talk for many, many podcasts about that question right there. So, but off the top of my head, I would say don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to ask for the sale. Don't be afraid to attempt the new thing. Don't be afraid to message that person that you're watching on the internet and you've always had questions for. You know what I mean? But the biggest thing is, yeah, just confidence sells. If you at least look like you know what you're talking about, then you more than likely do know what you're talking about and they're going to trust you. And then another thing that I'd like to leave you with too, well, I guess maybe we're not done with the conversation, but leave that question with is I find most of my clients trust me and my company and not the products that I'm using. So if I trust the products that I'm using, then they're going to trust me that I'm trusting the products that I'm using. Does that make sense? Yeah, yeah.
I was missing what you're saying, but yes,
Yeah, yeah.
if they
Yeah,
trust you with $1 million plane
yeah.
and
And they
you
don't
go and
care.
you go
Yeah.
hand in hand with the product. So they're not going to
Yeah.
say, "Well, what product are you using?" And
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
going to
What are you
question
using
you.
to polish this with? I mean, some of them do just out of curiosity, you know what I mean? But most of the time they're like, "Well, what ceramic coatings going on it? What polish? What sandpaper are you use?" Yeah, they don't care. They're like, as long as the results show like you promised, if not better, and then they match your portfolio, then that's all that matters. And we all know
Right, right.
expectations are huge, or the big basis of what we do. So,
And the
yeah,
the biggest thing that I took away on that is nothing changes without action. So you
correct.
can't just sit there. No one's going to
Yeah.
bang down your door and give you $1 million. It's just not going to
No.
happen. You got to
No.
go out there and hustle it. You're out
Mhm.
there hustling it,
Yep.
and you got to ask for the sale. Most salespeople, so I'm a sales and marketing guy, right? So most
Yes, sir.
salespeople don't ask for the sale.
No.
Hey, how's it going? You spent all this time back and forth, back and forth. All right, thanks, bye. No, no. Hey, oh, by the way, when are you ready? Assume the sale. Is that cash or check?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
haven't even told you I
Act
was going to
like it's
buy it.
already happened.
It's
Yeah.
already happened. I've already
Yeah.
rang you up. I got an invoice in your inbox.
Yeah.
Really? All right. That'll be a credit card.
Yeah.
Great. I'll put you down for Monday. Or you could ask them, you want it Monday or Tuesday? I haven't even told you I was going to buy it. Oh, you heard my reputation and I just assumed that you were ready to go. Is it Monday
Yeah.
or Tuesday?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Tuesday. All right,
Yeah.
great. That was easy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He was all hesitation. So when they hesitate, so this is on the sales side. When people hesitate, oh, I have to ask my wife, or oh, I'm not sure, or it's not a money problem. It's a
Mhm.
confidence problem. You said something that they don't like, oh, I'm not sure. I don't know what products he's using. Oh, I'm not sure about that shirt he was wearing, or maybe it's political. Maybe I don't know. Maybe
And
you
who
were on the
knows?
opposite high
Yeah.
school team. I don't know, but you said something in your presentation did not make him comfortable, so they're not
Mhm.
ready to shell out that money.
Yeah.
So,
Short and sweet. Short and sweet's what I like to
short and sweet.
say. One thing I learned in
Some guys go all into the SiO2 and it does this chain reaction with
Mhm.
this.
Yeah. People don't
What'd you
care.
say, bro?
People don't care.
Just
It's over their heads. It's over their heads. I like to say keep it short and sweet. And then I lost my train of thought. Short and sweet. And that's
But
it.
yeah,
It's gone.
that's it.
We'll
Just
come back to
you
it. But
assume the sale, get it done, get it invoiced, get it paid for, and get it
yeah.
on the
And
books and get
deposits.
it done.
Take deposits. Don't do a job without a deposit. I have been there, done that, been burned, had no shows, or driven hours and well, no, I don't want to do this. But make sure there's a disclaimer too. And make sure you know your state's laws. But yeah, deposits have been mandatory in my business for 6 years. I'm going
And
on
why
9.
why is deposits important? Okay, we'll leave with this conversation here. Deposits are important because you have skin in the game. They don't.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
throw a deposit down. Now they're like, oh, I got to show up, or he keeps
Mhm.
my deposit. I have to make sure that I'm on time because he has other people.
Yeah.
And so yeah, you got to have. Everyone has to have skin in the game.
Yeah, and there's
So
another side to that too, even as like if you're a newer detailer or new detailer, you don't have, products on the shelf like a lot of us do. That's all of your consumables right there in that deposit. You can now order your coatings, you can now order your pads, you can now order towels, you can, pay for fuel to get wherever you need to. It shouldn't just be, oh, this is my money. all the time. You know, you need to be reinvesting back in the business.
Sure.
I remember what I was going to say before I had a brain fart.
Okay.
So we're talking about keep it short and sweet. One thing I learned in sales training about 15 years ago was a lot of salesmen like to verbally vomit, like you were saying, SIO2 this and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Say what you need to say at, you know, well, the research now is at third grade level, but, you know, don't make your client feel dumb by any means, but give your pitch and then seal your lips. Shut up. Your client's going to
Right, right,
sell
right.
them.
So educate them. So a lot of people don't know
Yeah.
about substrates. They don't know why does it cost $2,000? Well, I'm polishing for 10 hours. That's a lot.
Yeah.
It sucks to polish for 10 hours, but man, it's going to look great. You're not paying for the ceramic coating. You're paying for me to polish to make that look perfect without burning through the paint. So that's
Hmm.
why you're paying all this money. Oh, I had no idea. So,
Yeah.
and again, assume the sale. Education is good, but don't say too much. And then once you ask for the sale, shut up. Don't be
Hmm.
like, oh, well, my sister went here and I went on vacation over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
Enough. The rapport has been built enough for you to
that's it.
already be there.
And if
Yeah.
it's awkward silence, it's awkward silence. You
Yeah.
just, well,
And
what do you think? It,
most of the
you
time,
know,
the client, because we're so niched out and we're not a necessity, the client already knows what they want. So they're going to likely tell you without knowing that they're telling you what they want. And it's just our job to figure out, you know, you never want to ask, hey, well, okay, Mr. Client, what's your budget? That the B word is not allowed in my business. It's
okay.
here are my prices. We don't negotiate. I don't say that either. However, I don't. There's no negotiations. I give certain discounts at certain things, but yeah, the biggest takeaway is be firm on your pricing. Don't, you know, it is a lot of money and a lot of new guys are hesitant. I can ask that much money for this work. Well, yeah, you're putting a week's worth of work into something, you know, you deserve it. Of course. So
You're
don't
the professional.
exactly. Yep. They have your, you know, you are there at their property they are there at your shop for a reason. They didn't just by happenstance stumble upon, oh, what's going on over here? Maybe, you know, if they're driving down the road. But, you know, nine times
Probably
out of
not.
10. Yeah. Yeah.
No, they
So
drove across the state. They drove across the town.
yeah,
They knew you were the
exactly.
best in town. They want this done. Johnny wrecked my ride, messed up something, and they want you to fix it, and they want you to do it for cheap? No, no, no. You
Yeah.
think Johnny's
Yeah.
cheap?
Yeah.
I'm going to fix his stuff, and it's going to look amazing. Go to the top professional in town and see if he's super cheap, and he's going to, oh, would you do it for 50% off? No, 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 I can't do it for 50%. And I'm busy, and, I need to get you on the schedule. How does next year look? So
Yeah.
that's where if they jerk you around, then, it goes both ways the way that I
Yeah.
see it. So,
I like to tell
so
people you don't go to McDonald's and say, "Hey, can I get that Big Mac for $3.75 instead of whatever they're priced for now?" No, they don't.
No,
So
no.
why should they
And
do it
you
to
are
you?
a business owner and you have to make money in your business. Everything
Mhm.
costs, gas, your truck, lots of different things cost money, insurance, food. You're not there for a charity. You're there and you've spent many hours learning this, maybe ruining paint and having to redo a
Oh yeah.
hood. I don't know.
Well,
So
hopefully,
these
if you're
things
not
happen.
burning, you're not learning. That's what we all say, right?
My gosh. If you're not burning, okay. If you're not, yeah, if you're not failing, you're not trying. So, yes, fail a few
But
times, but don't fail every
yeah,
day.
no, no, no,
All right.
and fail on your own stuff, not other people's.
Yes, yes. I had
Yeah.
a guy that wanted to wet sand a little spot on a brand new Tesla, and it went all the way through metal, and then it cost
Oh,
$2,000 to respray, and it was only
yeah,
a
I believe it.
$500 job. So he was out 1,500. Actually, I
Yeah.
think he was out the whole thing.
There's a lot of times I send guys like that body shop. Call your favorite body shop. I'm not. I
Right,
don't.
right, right. And
Yeah.
that's a whole nother episode on networking with your PDR and your body shop guy, and
Yes.
think
Yeah.
something's going to happen, or they're going to say while you're doing the walk around, you see a dent, you're like, hey, you ever thought about getting that dent out? I can have the PDR guy come over while I'm polishing the other side.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, no problem. It's like, I just have him come over. He invoices you. I don't make any money from it.
And that's an
Oh,
important part of what we do too. You know, they should have PDR done before a ceramic coating is installed because a PDR guy is going to try and have to sand your ceramic coating off, and then they're going to damage anything anyway because their glue
right.
doesn't stick.
Oh
Ask me how
yes,
I
yes, of
know.
course.
Yeah, I've had to fix a
Right,
lot.
right, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
So
right, Ian, we talked about a lot of things. You gave us a lot of good nuggets on how to make more money in the detailing business. You're doing all kinds of stuff. You got an awesome a YouTube channel, Ian Polishes. You have a consulting thing going on. You got doing planes. You're gonna fly places and do a lot of things. I totally appreciate you being on the show. Any last words?
well, thanks for having me, Dave. This is my first podcast, so I hope it went well. I know we're going to be
It
able to
was
chop it
great.
up and get
Yes,
some
we're
good
just
footage out of
talking.
it. Yeah, of course. There was a lot of good information that was said. It was good, always a good conversation to be had with you. No, as far as for the audience, I think what you mentioned, what I spoke about, is just sit and be confident and don't take it so dang seriously. Is kind of how it is.
Stuff happens.
Life happens. Yeah,
Yes, yes.
that's
All
exactly
right,
how it
Ian.
goes. So
We're gonna see you in a future podcast episode,
perfect.
and you can tell us more about what you have going on and some of the things you're working on now. All right.
Awesome. Awesome. I
All right.
appreciate it. Again, check out shopscratchworks.com for any polishing products and training courses. And then if you need to get a hold of me, Ian Polishes on Instagram. Thanks again, Dave. I really appreciate it.
Great. All right. We'll see you on the next one. Okay. Bye
All
bye.
right. Take care.
Calling all detailers, gather around the sound, a place to learn the secrets that will lift you off the ground. Tips and tools and stories shared from shop to shop, helping you grow stronger with each neatly polished drop. Calling all detailers podcast, guiding every grind, helping detailers make more money, one show at a time. From the first rinse of the morning to the final shine at night, the wisdom in each episode will help you get it right. Raise your rates with confidence, let your business climb. Tune in and keep leveling, one detail at a time. Calling all detailers podcast, guiding every grind, helping detailers make more money, one show at a time. Calling all detailers podcast, guiding every grind, helping detailers make more money, one show at a